Hello, my dear friend, and welcome to part 2 out of our microdosing video series. While part 1 was focusing mainly on the spiritual aspect of how to use microdosing as an entheogen, an opportunity to connect to the God within, how to work with intentions, how to understand the spirits that are connected to different substances, different entheogens, like, for example, cacao as the mother, ayahuasca as the grandmother, mushrooms as the sacred children. So today I have chosen to create another video that is meant to go on some technical notes, even though for me microdosing is first and foremost a spiritual practice. There are some very important, tangible, kind of practical tips that I can provide you that will help you implement this medicine and this journey in your day-to-day. I've also received some incredible questions from people that have watched the recording from our first class, so I'm going to address these questions, and I'm going to start with the basic. What is microdosing? Microdosing is consuming a subperceptual dose. Usually when we talk about microdosing, we're talking either on LSD, which is a tiny amount of LSD, 10 micrograms, or 100 milligrams of psilocybin mushroom. Psilocybin, the active component, and what we call magic mushrooms. Why these two components? Because evidence have shown that by microdosing either psilocybin or LSD, you can actually improve your well-being. Your days can be nicer, you can tap into some presence, and you can operate from a more heart-centered space. The first question will be, what is the main differences between microdosing LSD and microdosing psilocybin mushrooms? For me, I am a big fan of natural component, even though I have a lot of personal experience with using LSD, and even though LSD is driven originally from a fungi, from mushrooms themselves are a natural component that comes from the earth. LSD is a synthetic component that is created in a lab. Usually they're saying that when you microdose LSD, it is more with the intention of being more productive, operating from your head, getting some more tasks done. This is why microdosing LSD was so popular in the early 2000s around programmers and gamers in the Silicon Valley. Steve Jobs used to consume a lot of LSD to help him kind of develop the future of Apple. But when we're talking about microdosing psilocybin mushrooms, we are operating from a place that is more, I want to improve my emotional well-being. I want to connect to my higher self. I want to work with intentions. And the biggest thing about working with plant medicine is working with intentions. What is it that I want to accomplish? For example, one beautiful friend asked me if I can give different examples for intentions. So intention can be, today I want to feel more connected to my heart. Today I want to connect to the essence of myself that is the higher self. How I can be more compassionate today, how I can be more loving to myself, how I can operate from a state of gratitude, how I can operate from a state of forgiveness, connection to my inner child. Intention can also be releasing something. I am feeling resentment because I had a horrible fight with my girlfriend yesterday. So today my intention is to release this resentment, to release the judgment, to release the anger, the stress, the anxiety that is stored within my heart. So I can either ask the medicine to provide me something, like please give me compassion, give me ease, give me softness, or take from me jealousy, judgment, anger, comparison. So we can work on that. We can also set intention to heal some parts with us, whether if there are physical, mental, or spiritual. We can also ask the medicine to focus on healing those parts with us, with the understanding that even physical issues that we might have mainly usually originated from something that is deeper and is unsolved within our soul. So Operating with intention is an opportunity for us to tap into the something that we are missing and we want to achieve in our life. When we talk about microdosing, since it's recommended to work on a set protocol and for a duration of, I recommend 2 months, a minimum is 1 month, you have an opportunity of focusing on one intention for a duration of the entire month. So the most recommended intention that I always suggest people is to focus on self-love. How in the next month I can focus every time that I take the medicine on operating from a place of self-love. And then you're going to ask yourself, what does self-love looks like? Does self-love looks like just scrolling around all day with your phone on social media, smoking cannabis, drinking beers, hanging out with some toxic people, being in a job that I don't like, coming back home from work and just sit in front of the TV and watch Netflix until I fall asleep? If this is how self-love looks like, awesome. But maybe operating and calling within an intention for self-love can bring us the opportunity on really looking for the things that are helping us to love ourselves a little bit better, to work out, to be in motion, to connect to nature, to surround myself with people that makes me feel good about myself. This is a journey of self-love. So, what are you supposed to feel when you microdose? And this is somewhat of a tricky question because microdosing is a subperceptual dose. We're talking about tenth of a gram, 10th to a 20th of a gram of mushrooms. You're not supposed to feel no change in perception, no shifting in colors, no perception of time that is getting a little bit more elusive. You're not supposed to feel none of these things. Microdosing is an essence. So it's going to take you once or twice when you start working with the medicine to find the sweet spot. That means that if you're taking the medicine and after a couple of hours you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed in your body and you're feeling any sort of sensation, you know that you need to tap the medicine off. Usually recommended to use capsules. This is what I recommend. You open the capsule, you pour a little bit of the medicine out, and you find that sweet spot. That sweet spot doesn't mean that you don't feel nothing. You're feeling an essence. It is like a whisper. It is something very energetic. Yesterday, I microdosed, and after 3 hours, I felt a little bit of like an awakening within my body. It wasn't overwhelming, but it was definitely some sort of sensation. A lot of people ask me, what happened if I do feel that it gets a little bit overwhelming, meaning that every person has different level of sensitivity to the medicine. Some people can take 0.1 gram and feel nothing. Some people can take the same exact amount, 0.1 gram, and feel a little something that is beyond microdosing. So they ask me, I'm starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed. What am I doing? Walk. Move your body. Don't just sit in a room and scroll yourself and just go into your mind to get even more overwhelmed. No, move your body. Go on a walk in the street. Take your shoes and your socks off and put your feet on the ground. Usually, even if it feels a little bit overwhelming, about 30 minutes to an hour and your system will be balanced completely. Which leads to the next question. How long should I feel the microdosing on days that I microdose? I'm going to go back to what we talked about in our first class. I recommend working with a protocol that is 1 day on, 2 days off. This is the James Fadiman protocol that acknowledge the fact that the days that follow the microdosing is a day that we call the afterglow. I am still working with the spirits of the medicine, of the mushrooms, and I can still take advantage of connecting to my intentions. But on the day that you do microdose, I personally am feeling the medicine, the essence of the medicine throughout the day. From the time that I took it in the morning until I'm going to sleep. But again, if my day would look exactly the same as if it looked when I don't work with the medicine, then most likely you're not going to feel any difference. So my invitation to you is, once you start journeying with microdosing, change your habits. Do things a little bit different. For example, on days that I microdose, I take longer breaks from my phone throughout the days. On days that I microdose, I always spend time outdoors in nature. I always make sure to ground myself with my feet on the earth. While I try to do that every single day, I most definitely am consistent in doing that on days that I microdose. I want you to see microdosing day as an opportunity to truly bring changes in your life that initially will stay with you even when you finished working with the medicine. So if I am getting used to, let's say, meditate on days that I microdose only for 5 minutes, most likely when I'm going to finish my 2 months of working with the medicine, I'm probably going to continue meditating for 5 minutes every single day, because I have created a habit. After 3 weeks, you create a habit. After 3 months, you are in the realm of creating a lifestyle. That is it. If you have meditated every day for 3 months, it is part of your lifestyle, and you will probably going to continue doing that. So take advantage of the medicine on doing the things that you want to do as part of your intentions. A person asked me, should I microdose in the morning or before I go to sleep? So I think that I always recommend microdosing in the morning. I microdosed, for example, yesterday. I woke up at 6 a.m. After brushing my teeth, I microdosed. I prepared myself a warm cup of cacao. I meditated for about 30 minutes. I studied my spiritual studies, and then I went to the gym. And about an hour, 2 hours after, I was already in movement in my body, and the medicine was incredible throughout the day. Having said that, some people prefer microdosing in the afternoon. That is also fine. If you will choose to microdose before you go to sleep, there's a big chance that you will not be able to fall asleep so easily. So I personally recommend microdosing during the day. Having said that, if you remember from our first class, it is all about a direct experience. Try it, see how it feels, see how it resonates with you. For example, yesterday I microdosed before drinking cacao. On my next dose, I am planning to take the microdose after I'm drinking cacao and see how that feels like. On my third time, I'm going to plan to eat breakfast, wait an hour, and then microdose. So it requires some trial and error for you to find first the sweet spot on when the medicine feels just about right as an essence, and second of all, when is the perfect time for you to take it. First thing when you wake up in the morning, as you're preparing yourself your cacao or your coffee, I'm going to talk about coffee in a second, or an hour after breakfast. Do not consume the medicine with food, because it might feel a little bit uncomfortable in your belly. Some people, especially after the first class, talk to me about coffee. Do I have to stop using coffee because Ido, you recommended working with cacao? So, cacao by itself is an incredible medicine that allows us to operate from a heart space. You start the day with cacao, you start the day with a sense of ease and gentleness and softness, but you do get enough energy for you to overcome your coffee use, because coffee gives you energy from caffeine. Cacao gives you energy both from a little bit caffeine, but also from theobromine, and they're both stimulants. But if coffee is in your practice and you are a person that is used to drinking your coffee every single day, please continue to drink your coffee. There is no interference between coffee and microdosing. My invitation for you is to try and work with cacao, just for you again to be in that direct experience and seeing how this one feels versus that. I needed to started working with cacao about 3.5 years ago to see, wow, I really love how it makes me feel. So it was very easy for me to stop using coffee, even though I used to drink about 5 to 7 cups of black coffee every single day for many, many years. Once I started using cacao, it was a no-brainer, just because it made me feel so good in my heart and in my body. So there's no contradiction between microdosing and coffee. You do you. And again, only from me, it's an invitation to try, at least on days that you microdose, to give cacao a chance. You might find cacao to be an incredible ally as part of the intentions of self-love or whatever it is that you are calling to work with. A person asked me about microdosing and SSRIs. So a lot of people are desiring to work with microdosing to cut the use of SSRIs. So there is no interference per se between SSRIs and psilocybin. There is interference, for example, between SSRIs and ayahuasca. There is no with psilocybin mushrooms. However, people are reporting that when they are using SSRIs, they need stronger medicine, even on higher doses of mushrooms. They need to consume more so they can actually feel it. So with microdosing, it's actually an opportunity for you, instead of going cold turkey and cut the use of pharmaceuticals, to start by using them together with the intention of gradually cutting off the SSRIs and starting a journey only with microdosing. But like I said, there is no physical interference between SSRIs and microdosing. And having said that, as a reminder, I am not a doctor, I am not an expert, and this is not a recommendation for you to do anything that you have not consulted your doctor or consulted with your own intuitive heart. Moving to the next question, a dear friend asked, can I drive while microdosing? So when you have found the sweet spot that you're feeling, okay, I feel the essence, the frequency, but it doesn't affect my cognitive behavior, then yes, absolutely you can drive. But I always recommend take the first dose when you don't need to drive so you can see how it feels, because you might need to adjust the dose before you can implement that in your day-to-day and then function regularly at work, drive, call your parents, talk to your friends, go to do groceries. You're supposed to do all of these while you are on microdosing, only after you have found the sweet spot on what feels exactly right in your body. Again, trial and error. This is why when we recommend the medicine, we always provide 2 months supply plus 2 more capsules that allows you to take once or twice to find the sweet spot that feels exactly right. So that's about driving and microdosing. Next question is, can I mix microdosing with cannabis? I think we talked about it a little bit in our previous class. Cannabis by itself is a spirit. I would describe her as a spirit that wants us to make very comfortable with ourselves, sometimes too comfortable. People that are using cannabis on a regular basis, including myself, at some point you are feeling a little bit numb to life. You don't really connect to your emotions. You don't really are allowing yourself to feel like sadness or to feel grief. There is this smoke screen that is covering your essence. Microdosing is exactly the opposite energy. Microdosing, like higher doses of mushrooms, will take your emotions and will put them right in front of you. You cannot avoid your emotions, meaning that if you are sad, microdosing will help you see your sadness in a little bit of a bigger form so you can process it and go beyond that. Same thing with grief, with joy, with everything. So my personal recommendation is to consider on days that you microdose to leave the cannabis alone. Having said that, again, direct experience. If you cannot go through one single day without smoking cannabis, there is no physical interference. However, it is an amazing opportunity to observe your relationship with cannabis. And like with any other substances, if a person is drinking alcohol every single day, some might call this phenomena as alcoholism. If you smoke cannabis every single day, be honest and sincere to look at this relationship and to acknowledge all the places that you have the dependency in this substance, or more to say, the codependency in this substance, including cannabis. You can absolutely be addicted to cannabis, and I'm speaking from on my own personal experience of being addicted more than 20 years to the spirit of the cannabis, the spirit of Santa Maria, that is a spirit that really loves to have you only for herself and cover you with this, again, smoking sensations that don't really allow you to look within and to confront some other parts within your soul. So that's about microdosing and cannabis. No interference, no contradiction between these two substances. Personal recommendation from me is to consider on days that you microdose not to smoke cannabis and to work only with this substance. No alcohol, no cannabis. Observe, see how that makes you feel. That might be an amazing opportunity for you to observe your relationship with all substances. I always say, for example, on days that you microdose, be aware of your social media, the time that you spend on social media, your news consumption, so you can observe and say, okay, on days that I microdose, let me spend a little bit less time on social media. Let me be on my phone a little bit less so I can be truly present for myself, for the intuitive voice of the medicine, and for whatever it is that the medicine has to teach me according to my intentions. Next question will be, can I give it to children? So we are in a society, and again, I'm not a doctor, but we are in a society that even young children are getting different sort of medication like Ritalin, Adderalls when they're in a certain age, and I am not a big fan of these type of pharmaceuticals. I think that in plant medicine, including in microdosing, it is all natural component on researches that they have done so far. There is no risk. However, if you are a parent, I invite you as a conscious, aware person to listen to your own heart. I don't think there is a damage in giving a child a subperceptual dose of medicine. I would think differently on higher doses of medicine. However, listen to your own heart. There is no medical risk. That is one thing that I've learned in study. There is no medical risk. If I would have given microdosing to my child, maybe we would wait until my baby is born and grown, and we will see where this journey takes us. But as a parent, listen to your heart. Next question will be, some people ask me about different strains of mushrooms. Are we using microdosing with penis envy, with golden teachers? What is the strains that we're using? When we talk about strains of mushrooms, it is important to understand 90% of all the strains that you know of belongs to a family called cubensis. Within that family of cubensis, you have golden teachers, Cambodian, Mexican mushrooms, penis envy, albino penis envy, albino avery, a lot of different strains belong to this family of cubensis. It means that the frequency is the same frequency, it's just a level of potency. Penis envy is more potent than golden teachers, that is a little bit lighter and more beginners friendly. Having said that, when we talk about microdosing, there is almost not much of difference, since we're talking about 0.1 grams. So yes, 0.1 gram of golden teachers versus 0.1 gram of penis envy. The sensation in penis envy will be a little bit more noticeable. However, I suspect that 0.1 gram of golden teachers, you might not feel anything completely. So I personally am microdosing on stronger strains, so it's easier for me to adjust the dose according to that stronger strain, meaning that I would prefer to cut off from the 0.1 to 0.05 of a stronger strain versus having a 0.1 of, again, golden teachers and not feeling anything completely. Again, finding that sweet spot. And most important, and that will kind of close the work that we're doing, as I said in our first call, this is a journey of connecting to the medicine, doing things that are a little bit different, but most important, it's a journey that requires discipline, spiritual discipline, a discipline for you to heal whatever it is that you desire to heal. It's an opportunity to develop discipline, to notice if you have issues with being disciplined. We are again in a society, in a culture that is very easy to come back from work and just open the TV and not to open books and read books. And we kind of got used to this very convenient type of lifestyle in our Western culture. Utilize this journey with microdosing to do things a little bit different. Read books, write in your journals, go to nature, meditate, work with your intentions. I hope that was sufficient enough to answer a little bit of the technical questions that people had. If you have any other question, please feel free to reach out. I'm going to send you my email, and I wish you a beautiful journey with medicine or without medicine. Please remember that all these substances are just another tool in your spiritual toolbox. We have other tools that does not require medicine at all. Meditation, music, breath work, connection to nature, all these elements don't require medicine. When you do combine them with medicine, it has even a greater potential. But always listen to your heart. Your intuitive heart knows it all. Have a beautiful day. Love you. Thank you for listening.